Jonathan, we're going to start every one of our interviews with Olympic legends by showing them some of their greatest moments. So, here we go. I'm going to pass this over to you if you press the play button. I'm sure you've obviously seen these things a million times.
Yeah, I've got it on my iPhone.
Have you really?
Yeah, I have.
Because some athletes will watch their past glories or even failures, I suppose, and some won't. Which one are you?
I mean, I love watching this.
Yeah.
I mean, it was the most incredible day. I've also got Sydney here, but I think it's more Gothenburg for me.
Right.
Breaking the 2 world records. I think for an athlete, the most important measure is what was your best day in terms of distance or time, your personal best. And so Gothenburg, was my personal best. 18:16 in the first round, 18:29 in the second. So as much as the Olympic gold medal is fantastic, I think for me, probably at the moment, the pride of place is still Gothenburg and the world record.
How, as an athlete, do you still manage to perform, no matter what's happened before?
And I think, inherently I'm very competitive. And whatever you turn up with on the day, whether it's Gothenburg and everything's perfect and you're in a wonderful rhythm, which I was in 1995, or Sydney, where it was much more of a kind of, it was almost like walking through treacle that season. I just hadn't, jumping through treacle even, I'd never really hit the heights. I was always struggling a little bit with technique. My fitness was fine, but I wasn't in the most fantastic shape. But you just have to learn, and I think it is experience, that whatever you've got on that day, you have to make sure you get it out and perform to your absolute maximum. I think at 34 years of age, I'd kind of learned that. Okay. And certainly I think the experiences of coming second in Atlanta and then second in the Athens World Championships and third in the Seville World Championships made me very aware of the fact these opportunities only come along every now and again, and it's easy for it to go wrong. So there was almost a sense of being philosophical about it, slightly taking the pressure off, and just what will be will be. I'm just going to give my best today and see what happens.
That will turn out pretty well. When this Olympics comes along and you watch it from the safety of a studio, what will you be missing and what will you not be missing?
I don't think I'll be missing anything, actually.
Really?
I really feel I've left my athletics career behind. It was absolutely fantastic. As I've said, better than I ever thought it could be. And there's nothing inside me I don't think would want to go back to that. And also, on top of that, to be part of the organising committee is close to the most amazing thing I've done, to be on the other side of the fence, to see the hard work and effort that goes into putting on the games. So I think to be watching it from a studio, but having also been part of the organising committee, will give me as much, I think, fulfilment as being an athlete.
Jonathan, we're going to come back to you in just a few moments, but it's time now to go and have a look at the Olympic Stadium. The stadium is built on an old industrial site, which means before they could even begin work here, they had to remove 2 million tons of soil out from the ground, then wash it, and then they could start work. It's the lightest Olympic stadium ever, and it's built in tiers, so that they can actually remove some of the seats and even the top tier after the game. To make that slightly easier, nothing in the stadium's been welded. The whole thing is kept together by bolts. Actually, thinking of bolts, I think he might be trying to beat my fastest time that I set out there on the track, so I'd better get training. And I can do that right here on the warm-up track inside the stadium, which is where all the athletes will be preparing for their big race. So, see you later.
Mark, set, go!
Okay, we better look at the triple jump then for 2012 and the three main contenders that everyone's talking about, Taylor and Phillips Sadowa, of course, and Teddy Tamgo. Are those the three names who you think we should be looking out for?
I think it will probably come down to those three. There's another young lad, a Ukrainian, who won the European Under-23s. I think Sharif El-Sharif, he's called, jumped 17.70. Didn't jump particularly well in Daegu, but he's young, so potentially he could move up and come into the frame. But you'd look to those three, and I think prior to Daegu, I would have said Phillips was the favourite. He's, since his silver medal in Beijing, he's produced every major championship and really knows how to get himself into the best possible shape for the most important day. But Christian Taylor I loved watching him in Daegu. His technique was beautiful. The control he had, his speed, and it was something to behold. I mean, I think probably the most aesthetically pleasing triple jumper that I've seen in the last sort of 15 years. Very similar to Mike Connolly, who won the Olympic title in 1992. And for me, at this point in time, I'd probably call him as the favourite. Having jumped like that in Daegu to win, having seen Phillips jump 17.70 plus, and then having to respond to that, and he'd beat him a couple of weeks previously in Crystal Palace, which was a big win and a personal best for him. So he's got huge potential and can jump even further. I think Phillips, around that 18-metre mark is his top end. Taylor can jump further, as can Tamgo.
Right.
Now, Tamgo is mercurial. You just don't know what he's going to produce. He could produce a world record, or he could not qualify for the final. And the fact that he hasn't been able to go up against Phillips and Christian Taylor in the World Championships in Daegu, I think definitely puts him at disadvantage for 2012, because he hasn't proven himself in major outdoor championships. He jumped great indoors, but perhaps not so well in outdoor championships. And obviously, his preparation disrupted with a broken ankle. So at the moment, my money would be on Taylor, because he just looked so good in Daegu.
Now, does one of those three, I suppose, as you said, Phillips, maybe not, but does one of the Christian Taylor or Teddy Tamgo pair, does one of them have the potential within them to go really, really huge, and who knows, maybe even go past at 18.29?
Yeah, I think both Christian and Teddy could jump that far on the right day. I think Teddy Tamgo, has shown he's jumped close to 18 metres on a number of occasions, and he's that kind of athlete that if everything was aligned and he got really, really excited, that he could produce something very special. I think Christian Taylor, slightly different athlete, but such an outstanding talent that he has the potential to jump that far. I mean, it's still a decent distance away. I mean, people get excited when somebody jumps close to 18 metres. Yeah. But the world record isn't 18.01 or 18.02, no. It's 18.29, so it is another foot. But if I could hold on until the start of the triple jump in 2012, and then I could get the start list with my name at the top, with the world record, with the London 2012 Olympic final, and frame it and put it in my toilet, then I think that'll be okay.
Well, you had great rivalries with Harrison and Olsen, and maybe we've missed that maybe a little bit in the triple jump over the last few years. Do you think that Teddy Tamgo and Christian Taylor are going to have that same sort of rivalry that brings the excitement up around the world about the event? Yeah, I mean, it does bring events alive, and I think we have had probably not two athletes jumping really, really well at the same time. And if you have Christian Taylor and Teddy Tamgo for the next 10 years, going head to head, trading, 18-metre jumps, perhaps world records, then it makes the event that much more captivating. What advice would you give either or both of them, technique-wise, from a training point of view? I mean, I think they both look pretty solid, to be honest. They're both natural jumpers, Teddy particularly. Both got good speed, lovely rhythm. And I think the important thing for them is to stay fit and healthy. And one of my philosophies within training was to not do too much on the basis that if you just kept on week after week, month after month, year after year, bounding, jumping, eventually you're going to break down. And I think that they're both such natural athletes that perhaps doing a little bit less will give them in the long term a much more enduring career. As well as all the events, Jonathan, we also want to give people an idea of what to do while they're in London. So let's have a look at our next tip of what not to miss. The boat is a wonderful way to get around town. Rather than being in the traffic on the roads, have lots of people everywhere, why not jump on the river? It's a brilliant way to explore London.
I would like it automatic.
For me, going on the river is the best way to see London. London as a city has some of the best views in the whole world, I think, and there's no better place to see them than from a boat.
Could it ever be?
One thing you'll notice about London is the brilliant mix of old and new, and you can see that from here. All the old buildings aside the river, and then in the distance, the new. The Gherkin is what we call it, and the City of London, the financial district. Now here in England, we may not be famous for our cuisine, but if there's one thing that everybody's heard of, it's fish and chips. So if you want a traditional English meal, this is the place to come. One's cod and chips. Cheers. Traditional English fish and chips, and for the chips we English put lots of vinegar and some salt, and that is how you make fish and chips. Good. English cooking at its very best. If you've never tried it, you have to try it. Jonathan, I know you've tried it a lot. Maybe not best for your training regime, but anyway, I'll enjoy my lunch. Let's find out some more about the Olympics. Right, I want to take you forward to August the 9th. It's the final of the triple jump. Picture it, we're in the stadium, crowds there. Who do you see in the top 6 in the final, and how do you see it going?
I mean, my heart tells me Phillips to win. British, East End lad. It would be the crowning glory of his career. The crowd will be all over him. They'll be desperate for him to win. So there will be an amazing atmosphere. You know, Phillips' name being announced to the crowd, the place will go crazy.
Do you see him doing it early on in the competition, later on in the final?
Phillips generally does things early. So I think for him to go out first round, and if not first, certainly second round, and post a marker down. He did that in Daegu, and Christian Taylor responded to it. But I think Phillips needs to do that. I think if Phillips doesn't do it in the first 3 rounds, then I would say he probably won't do it. That would be my call for Phillips. Christian Taylor has shown that I think he can do it at any point in the competition, and will continue to be a danger wherever he's jumped right through into the last round. Same with Teddy, I think, as well. That kind of jumper, where at any moment that little spark could come on and he could produce something incredible. But the focus on that event, because of Phillips, I think will bring the whole triple jump to life. So I think for that evening, August the 9th, you know, that will be one of the focuses of, you know, not just the people in the stadium, but across the entire country.
It's time for us to go now and see the latest Together to London news.
Salut, c'est Nico Karabatic, champion olympique de handball à Pékin avec l'équipe de France et en route, j'espère, pour un autre titre à Londres.
Nous sommes l'équipe de France du 4x100 mètres relais hommes.
Nous sommes venus peaufiner le relais 4x100 mètres en vue des Jeux Olympiques de Londres 2012 au mois d'août.
Ouais, oh là là, c'est chaud ça, hein? Wouh!
What would be your one message for people maybe thinking about either coming to London, or who've got tickets who are coming, or even just who'll be watching 2012 on the TV?
I think, you know, less than a year to go. London is set to stage a fantastic games. We really are in good shape. I think the city will look amazing. The venues are going to be fantastic. We're giving a platform for the best athletes in the world to compete at their very, very best. There's a whole range of other events going on, you know, outside, a whole cultural program. I mean, London, you know, I'm biased, but I think it's the best city in Europe. So combine that with the best event in the world. You know, if you can come here, absolutely do it, but make sure that, you know, you book those 2 weeks off, watch it on Eurosport, obviously, and enjoy the party, because it's going to be amazing.
Brilliant, Jonathan, thank you very much indeed.
Okay.